you can count on us. This is 7 News Good Morning Fort Sill.
Welcome to another edition of Good Morning Fort Sill. It is, I almost said Wednesday, it's Thursday morning and first day of school here for at least a lot of public schools. I know your kids have been in school for a couple days.
They've been there for a couple of days. It'll be a third day of school for them. But let's look at the weather as kids head off to school today. Michael, maybe slightly warmer this morning than it was yesterday?
Yeah, it is a little bit warm this morning. Temperatures are currently in the lower to mid 70s, and I will have that temperature graphic at the next time we have my weather hit. But right now, satellite and radar are pretty quiet across the area. There are a few mid to high level clouds across our far western counties, but other than that, not bad start to your morning. Altus right now pretty quiet as you look at the Jackson Memorial Hospital tower cam out there. And yesterday we had a high of around 93 yesterday, which is still below average for this time of year. Our normal temperature 97. Notice it went from 98 yesterday to 97. So we have already peaked our typical high temperatures for this time of year, and we're going to slowly start decreasing them. We had a low of 66 yesterday, which is pretty cool for this time of year. Our normal is usually around 72 degrees, and elsewhere we had an observed high of 94 in Chickasha, 93 in Duncan. We had a high of 91 in Wichita Falls, 93 in Bowie, down in Graham, 94 degrees, 96 in Vernon, and then in Altus, 93 degrees, as well as in Elk City. So relatively below average temperatures yesterday and the day before, but today we'll be back to be around average as high pressure really starts settling in across the area. And I will have you forecast on what we can expect heading to the weekend and maybe some small rain chances heading to early next week. So I will have you forecast on that coming up later.
We begin with the latest on Friday's high-stakes summit in Alaska between President Trump and Vladimir Putin.
That's right. This morning, we're getting a better idea of what the U.S. may offer Russia to stop the fighting in Ukraine. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has more in Washington.
This morning, President Trump preparing to meet with Vladimir Putin in Alaska, the first time the Russian president has set foot on U.S. soil in nearly a decade. The British Daily Telegraph reports White House officials are working on a deal that would give Russia access to natural resources in Alaska in exchange for ending the war, along with the lifting of some sanctions on the Russian aviation industry, and providing access to rare earth minerals in Ukrainian territories currently under Russian occupation. Trump warning Russia there will be consequences if Putin doesn't agree to end the war.
Will Russia face any consequences if Vladimir Putin does not agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
What will the consequences
there will be consequences.
Sanctions, tariffs?
There will be, I don't have to say, there will be very severe consequences.
The president has called Friday's meeting a listening exercise, adding that it's really about, quote, setting the table for a future face-to-face meeting between Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky.
There's a very good chance that we're going to have a second meeting, which will be more productive than the first.
But Zelensky warns that Putin is bluffing and he's not serious about ending this war. On Wednesday, President Trump spoke virtually with Ukraine's president and European leaders. The British Prime Minister ready for a peace deal, but still had this warning for Putin.
We do stand ready also to increase pressure on Russia, particularly the economy, with sanctions and wider measures as may be necessary.
Trump has suggested both sides may need to give up territory. Russia currently controls about 20% of Ukraine and is making advances. Video circulating online this week shows explosions across the Eastern Front, with Russian troops breaching the front line. Civilian deaths now reportedly at their highest levels since the early months of the war. During that call with Zelensky, European leaders say they are united with President Trump that there must be a ceasefire before peace talks can begin. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And according to the United Nations, a record amount of Ukrainian civilians were killed in the month of July.
286 civilians were killed and nearly 1,400 were injured in 18 of Ukraine's 24 regions. Human rights groups say long-range weapons like missiles accounted for nearly 40% of the civilian casualties.
Nearly 14,000 civilians have been killed since the beginning of the conflict, including more than 700 children. Officials say the risk of civilian casualties is higher than it's ever been.
Vice President J.D. Vance was in Europe ahead of Friday's planned peace summit between President Trump and Vladimir Putin and spoke to U.S. troops stationed in the U.K.
We are going to make it our mission as an administration to bring peace to Europe once again. You guys are the reason why we can go into a negotiation with strength. You guys are the reason why we have leverage in these conversations with world leaders, because they know that if we cut a deal, it is backed up by the finest fighting force anywhere in the world.
Meanwhile, here in the U.S., the Nevada National Guard is being sent to support ICE next month. While plans are still in the preliminary phase, officials say guardsmen will be assisting in clerical, administrative, and logistical roles.
Nevada National Guard will not have any law enforcement duties or any interactions with detainees. Leaders say no matter what they're tasked to do, they're ready to complete their mission.
The federal government wants this, and they asked the governor to help support at this time through mid-November, and the governor responded to support this request, and the Guard stands ready to answer the call for our elected officials.
Well, turning our news over to Altus Air Force Base. Airmen from Altus, the base's 97th Air Mobility Wing's demonstration team, recently took to the skies above the Great White North, that's Canada. They took part in the Abbotsford International Air Show in Canada for the first ever combined aerial refueling performance. It featured the KC-46 Pegasus and the C-17 Globemaster III aircraft.
The Altus team included crews from the 58th Airlift Squadron and the 56th Air Refueling Squadron, bringing together 6 instructor pilots, 2 instructor boom operators, 2 instructor load masters, and 5 maintenance personnel. The crews say they enjoyed working alongside the Royal Canadian Air Force and sharing the capabilities of the aircraft they fly.
Looked like a cool exercise. Well, Fort Sill National Cemetery will be holding a burial for an unclaimed veteran this morning. You're looking at video from a previous unclaimed veteran's funeral, and as you can tell, our community absolutely supports our veterans. This morning's burial will be held at 11 a.m. at the cemetery in Elgin if you'd like to come pay your respects.
Thomas Ward will be laid to rest. Ward was a Navy airman who served during the Korean War. If you'd like more information, you can contact the Comanche County Veterans Commission via their Facebook page.
And Shepherd Air Force Base's Military and Family Readiness Center is inviting parents who homeschool their children to an open house and resource fair today. That fair will take place from 1 to 2 this afternoon at the Madrigal Youth Center, and will go over all the resources available to homeschool families. If you need more information, you can call the number on your screen.
And the MFRC is hosting a workshop next week to help service members who are transitioning from active duty to the next phase of their life. The Transition Assistance Program workshop will be August 19th through the 21st at the Welcome Center from 8 a.m. until noon. You can contact the Welcome Center if you need more information.
And Fort Sill MWR is inviting everyone to join them at Lake Elmer Thomas Recreation Area for the Alien 8K run this Saturday. That run kicks off at 8 p.m. and is an evening of extraterrestrial themed fun. Participants can either run, walk, or ruck. Note the race packages and t-shirts and bibs are sold out, but you can still participate in the run for free.
And if you're a fan of video games, anime, TV, and all things nerdy, Fort Sill MWR is hosting their 2nd annual SillCon. It's later this month. The convention will be August 23rd and 24th at the Patriot Club. It will feature stars from animated and live-action TV, a cosplay contest, and much more. The event is open to the public. If you don't have a DoD ID card, you will need a visitor's pass. Full information is at the website listed on your screen.
Navajo code talkers were instrumental to the U.S. military success in the Pacific theater of World War II. Coming up on Good Morning Fort Sill, we'll be remembering their service to our country.
Get ready for your day with the First Alert 7 app.
This just in, the town of Velma is being evacuated.
Stay connected to the team you trust your way. Get breaking news and investigations here on the 7 News app.
Mark, what are you seeing?
Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Instant forecast with real-time alerts here on the First Alert 7 weather app. And stream live on your TV here or watch anytime on your schedule. Download all 3 for free. Stay connected to 7 News wherever you are. Here's your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Michael Amanqua.
And for our temperatures right now, we're currently sitting in the lower to mid 70s across the area, a little bit warmer than we were this time yesterday morning. And we're currently at 74 degrees in Lawton, 73 in Wichita Falls and in Duncan, 69 in Chickasha, 77 in Anadarko. And the 24 temperature hour change will kind of show how much we've changed. We were about 5 degrees above where we were this time yesterday in Lawton, about 2 degrees in Frederick. So anywhere between 2 to 5 degrees above where we were this time yesterday. So certainly has been a little bit of a warmer morning, and it's still muggy across the area. Our dew point temperatures are still sitting in the upper 60s and lower 70s across the area. Winds right now are pretty calm, but they're gently going to start coming out of the southeast. Right now, they're between 0 to 5 miles per hour. They'll be out of the southeast today between 5 and 15 later on today. And looking at the upper levels right now, we got this area of high pressure currently still sitting in Mexico. It will get closer to us as we head towards the end of this week, and that will increase our temperatures to around average to this time of year. But notice I haven't put as you look at the 7-day forecast later on, I haven't put any 100-degree weather in there because it's just certainly not going to get there as of now. Now, the tropics are active. We do have Tropical Storm Erin, and as it goes towards the Atlantic, it will continue to strengthen to a Category 1, 2, and eventually Category 3 hurricane. Most models keep it off the East Coast, but right now we're going to continue to monitor that. And taking a look at your PT forecast, 74 degrees at Fort Sill. And then as we go over the next 3 hours, we'll be dipping into the lower 70s, getting into the upper 70s by the time we go to around 9 a.m.
U.S. Army soldiers participated in a survey on barracks conditions, and this is no surprise. They reiterated several ongoing issues with their living conditions, including mold and pest infestations, along with maintenance delays, privacy concerns, and security issues.
Over 93,000 service members across 46 installations participated in this survey. Soldiers rated their living conditions as a 68 out of 100, which is below average. Fort Bragg, Fort Meade, and Torrey Station received the overall lowest scores in the survey.
The ratings included factors like responsiveness to resolving issues and property conditions.
Well, the Army is reorganizing its airborne forces and reclassifying more than 22,000 paid parachutist positions.
So, Kyle, this has actually been talked about for a long time with reference to the paid parachutist positions. The Army is actually taking away jump pay from these particular positions, but despite still requiring airborne experience, soldiers will still be able to attend airborne school, but won't be required to keep their qualifications current or participate in jump operations.
Airborne leaders cite a lack of available aircraft and personnel challenges as the driving factors for this reorganization. The Department of Veterans Affairs has launched a new update to their mobile app that will help veterans have an easier time submitting travel claims for medical care. Eligible veterans can now submit and track mileage-only travel claims directly from a smartphone or mobile device using the VA Health and Benefits mobile app.
And veterans who have a service-connected disability rating of 30% or higher, or who travel for a claim exam, are eligible for reimbursement if they traveled in their own vehicle from their home address to their VA-approved medical appointment. And service members and their families will now have their own security lanes at airports across the United States. Thanks to the Department of Homeland Security, the Honor Lane is currently in use at 11 airports, but will now be expanded nationwide.
DHS also rolled out free pre-check services for Gold Star families, as well as discounts for military spouses. Current service members and DoD staff already have access to pre-check benefits by including their DoD ID number as their known traveler number when making a reservation. Today in military history, it's Navajo Code Talkers Day. Now, this is a day that recognizes and honors the contributions of Navajo Marines in World War II.
Serving as radio code talkers, members of the Navajo Nation used their coded language to relay messages that were key in the success of military operations. The code was never broken as Navajo Code Talkers transmitted more than 800 messages without error.
Pretty cool. Well, in 1982, President Ronald Reagan actually proclaimed August 14th as Navajo Code Talkers Day. Now, if you'd like to learn more, you can visit the Navajo Code Talkers Museum in Gallup, New Mexico, the National Museum of the American Indian, or the World War II Museum in New Orleans. Still ahead, the National Guard is hosting their annual conference in Nevada this week. Coming up next on Good Morning Fort Sill, we'll take a look at the top headlines from across the nation.
Get ready for your day with the First Alert 7 app.
This just in, the town of Velma is being evacuated.
Stay connected to the team you trust your way. Get breaking news and investigations here on the 7 News app.
Mark, what are you seeing?
Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Instant forecast with real-time alerts here on the First Alert 7 weather app. And stream live on your TV here or watch anytime on your schedule. Download all 3 for free. Stay connected to 7 News wherever you are.
The Enlisted Association of the National Guard is hosting its annual conference in Reno, Nevada this week.
The conference brings together about 2,000 Guard members, veterans, and retirees. They're spending the week voting on the association's top legislative priorities, taking part in professional development workshops, and hearing from military leaders.
We're working on budget, of course, the budget cuts that affect the Army and Air Force National Guard. We also are working insurance issues with TRICARE.
The mission of INGUS is to advocate and uphold the well-being of our enlisted service members, retirees, families. So whatever Capitol Hill is or isn't doing for the National Guard, that's what we're working on.
More than 70 military exhibitors are in attendance providing information and resources for National Guard members. That conference will conclude today.
Leaders from Peterson Space Force Base spoke to community members about the essential missions of the installation and why space operations are fundamental to Colorado Springs. Colonel Kenneth F.L. Clock and Colonel Eric Bogue discussed the base's massive economic influence on the region, as well as a potential child care expansion for military families.
We've recently opened 3 new rooms in the CDC, which really equates to about servicing and supporting 35 additional families. And it's made a significant impact on our ability to support the child care of the local populace.
Peterson Space Force Base says Space Base Delta 1 and 41 bring nearly $4.2 billion to the Colorado economy. About $1.3 billion of that comes from just over 16,000 employees.
Well, representatives from Fort Leonard Wood met with area leaders to discuss the economic future of the Ozarks there in Missouri.
Fort Leonard Wood is the 5th largest employer in Missouri and brings in more than $2 billion to the state each year.
The Sustainable Ozarks Partnership focuses on keeping the Fort Leonard Wood region improving to not only boost national defense, but the community as a whole.
We feel like it's incumbent upon us to kind of embrace the change, adapt to change, but also use the things that are unique about Fort Leonard Wood and our communities to kind of leverage them to look for opportunities where Fort Leonard Wood and our communities could do more for the Department of Defense. It could do more for other federal agencies. And really, it's a good opportunity for everyone to kind of see and hear how all of us are collectively unified in our support for Fort Leonard Wood, its mission, its service members, and the overall defense of our country.
So we're going to talk good news here, but real quick on that, on the last story. So I would say that Fort Sill does a really good job, similar to what Fort Leonard Wood is doing, and we covered in that story. We'll look to cover more stories like that, specific to Fort Sill, what the garrison is doing, and how close the partnership is with Team Lawton Fort Sill.
Looking forward to those. Well, a trio of soldiers who were killed in the line of duty have been honored by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers with survey vessels bearing their names.
Jason Dennis has more on the stories of the men who gave the ultimate sacrifice to our nation.
With your blessing, these ships will carry the memory.
Each of the 3 survey vessels going through extensive testing, checking radar, chart plotters, radios, before setting sail to support critical missions, including on the 161-mile stretch of water along Georgia's coast near Savannah. In the same way, Staff Sergeant Dustin Wright, Sergeant Tyrone Chisholm, and Sergeant First Class John Beal did years ago. Now, the ships being named after them.
It's a privilege to stand before you today, their families, to honor their sacrifices and ensure their legacies endure.
First, Staff Sergeant Wright grew up in Swainsboro, Georgia, learning to farm and build things. He was killed in action as a member of the Army's elite Green Berets, his team ambushed by ISIS members in 2017. He was posthumously awarded the Silver Star for his heroic actions.
I'm honored to be here with all of you today.
Sergeant Chisholm is a Savannah native, an athlete who used his competitiveness to become a gunner with the group Brave Rifles, protecting civilians during Operation Iraqi Freedom. He died in November of 2005 after an IED detonated near his unit's tank.
He's gone 20 years later. His legacy is still being honored.
And Sergeant First Class Beal joined the Army after graduating high school in Riverdale, Georgia. After stints in Operation Desert Storm and Germany, he was called back to duty following 9/11, then killed in action in June 2009 from an IED and gunfight in Afghanistan.
They had made a comment about always saying their name and remembering each one of these individuals and never letting their legacy die. And the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers made sure of that today.
It took 2 years to build these ships, each with high-tech equipment like navigation lights and radar primarily used for navigation and avoiding collisions, especially when there's limited visibility.
Here's your first alert forecast with meteorologist Michael Amankwa.
Now, for most of your Thursday, we will continue to have mostly sunny skies, so it will not be a bad day today out there. It will still be hot, but seasonably hot, not extremely hot. And then we start increasing our clouds as we go into your Friday morning, and we'll call it partly cloudy for your Friday. For most of your afternoon, maybe a 10% chance of an isolated shower or storm possible. Now, as you go into your Saturday, we'll continue to have partly cloudy skies for most of your Saturday. Going into your Sunday, above rain chances about 20%. This model doesn't do a good job of showing it, but partly to mostly cloudy across the area. And we'll have maybe a 20% chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm possible. Same thing as we go into your Monday. We feel like temperatures will be below the threshold today of the heat advisory, so it will be seasonally hot with some humidity in there. But notice I feel like temperatures are just in the low 100s, below that 105-degree threshold that would typically issue a heat advisory. Although tomorrow, I will not be surprised if the National Weather Service does issue a heat advisory, as I feel like temperatures will be a little bit hotter. It's going to feel like 105 tomorrow, 103 in Wichita Falls, and 103 in Frederick. Our actual highs will be around 97 for the Lawton area, so mid to upper 90s for most of Texoma. Mostly sunny, winds out of the southeast around 5 to 15, and then 73 will be a low tonight with increasing clouds. Going into tomorrow, our temperatures will be in the mid to upper 90s, 99 for Lawton with winds out of the southeast at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we continue to have average temperatures going to much of your weekend, and then our temperatures will be steadily going a little bit down into the mid-90s going into next week. And taking a look at your bonus forecast, 90s all the way.
Well, thanks for watching Good Morning Fort Sill.